Hey guys, Eric and Joshua here to talk about the big Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 6 trailer that just debuted. A season that seemed like we might not even get for a while. We didn't know how many episodes there'd be.
And here we have Yoda talking to Qui-Gon Jinn.
We do, and we'll stop here. We know we got a few story arcs in this thing. We got 4 story arcs, 13 episodes. One's very Yoda-centric. What's going on here, we're very curious about.
So looks like some sort of Jedi group hug.
But I think, obviously, has something happened? Has there been some sort of loss? Or more, is this sort of like, I feel like it's the Jedi tapping into something together.
Yeah, like maybe, because Qui-Gon's talking over these scenes, so it makes me wonder if he needs sort of an extra boost to meditate, to reach like sort of the spirit world, to make that initial break, to talk to like dead people.
Maybe, except I feel like he didn't tell anyone except Obi-Wan at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
That's true. Maybe
yeah.
Maybe that's completely wrong.
Let's also mention, by the way, that as we're recording this, some of these episodes have begun airing in Germany. We know that. I'm avoiding those spoilers. I hope you are too. So yes, some people could say in Germany we already know this stuff, but we're not in Germany, and we want to see it as it airs here on Netflix. Now this is actually a kind of a big thing because this is clearly, I'm guessing this is Yoda seeing the future, and he's seeing Jedi versus clone troopers. He's seeing some ominous events. Now, yes, this isn't literally something that happens, obviously. We saw how Order 66 plays out, but that works with what we know, that they would see kind of visions of the future that might not be literal as far as what's going to happen. But this is pretty cool here.
This is pretty spot on to what does happen, like Kit Fisto getting struck down by a red lightsaber.
Which is, in fact, going to be his future. A lot of stuff, a lot of big space battle stuff here. We're not really sure where that fits in, but we do know that there's this big clone-centric Kamino storyline that really looks like it's going to delve into how Kamino worked and what the clone process was more than ever. This scene here, we're going to see a little bit more of it in a minute. There was already some scenes released a year ago from Clone Wars when they said that we'd get these episodes eventually that showed glimpses of this and the idea that the clones might go a little... have some little problems here.
But this is Plo Koon finding Sifo Dyaz's lightsaber, and he's sort of like the missing link from Episode 2, you might remember.
Yeah.
Where they just never resolved the mystery. So they're doing that here in the Clone Wars series. It's actually one of the things I'm most excited for.
Me too, because it was such a, there was such a sort of investigation mystery element in Attack of the Clones, and then they never really resolved how did this work? Why did they think this guy Sifo Dyaz ordered the clone army? Did he? This is more what we're talking about here, though, with this clone that kind of snaps. The trailer doesn't make it explicit, but the clip did a year ago that he kills a Jedi in the middle of a battle. He just snaps and kills her. They don't know why, what happened, and they take him back to Kamino to find out. That's the Jedi in question. And we can obviously tell this is all going to be tying into Order 66. And again, answering the question, is this, and it looks like the answer is yes, is Order 66 genetic? Did they program that into the DNA of the clones? It's not just something that they were trained to.
Like they didn't know it was going to happen.
They didn't know it was going to happen. It was something just buried deep inside them. I think this is actually really interesting, too. Seeing a couple of, am I going to say this right, the correct pluralization, Kaminoans?
Kaminoans, I think that's right.
Let's go with it.
You got it.
Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. But the fact that at least a couple of them talking to Dooku, talking to Darth Tyrannus, showing that some of them were way in on it. So they knew this wasn't just the Jedi that were behind this. And I think this is really cool to get these sort of answers, these huge sort of pieces of the puzzle fixed. You can say that maybe the movie should have done that, but we're at least getting the answers here. The stuff with Padme and Anakin is a storyline we're going to see more of later, but that was a storyline actually made for Season 5 and held.
Oh, wait, you got to stop here.
But we do gotta
I am
stop here.
all about Mace Windu. He didn't actually get too many, Mace Windu-centric episodes. So this looks like it's all about him taking on, looks like the Force Witches.
The Night Sisters.
The Night Sisters,
what's left of them.
Yeah.
But I do think that's pretty cool, especially because they kind of held any of the Mace material. He wasn't in any of the clips we'd seen prior to this, so we didn't know that he was going to get that spotlight. And this again, the Padme stuff, Anakin is going to be a storyline that was made earliest, so it'll be interesting to see how that fits in. Do they mention Ahsoka in a weird way that wouldn't fit in? But I have a feeling they at least tweaked it here.
What are these like Greek comedy and tragedy masks? Or maybe they're forced tragedy masks? I don't know.
They almost remind me of something you'd see in Avatar: The Last Airbender, which could be a nod. Hell, Dave Filoni worked on that show before he went to Clone Wars. But this is interesting because they talk about Yoda has to go to the Sith homeworld. And there has been some use of the Sith homeworld.
Korriban, right?
And there's been a couple of different names for it. That's the interesting thing. It's actually a debated part of EU, but again, the show beats out EU. I know some people hate that, say the expanded universe is being ruined because it's being overwritten, but at the end of the day, the show does trump anything you've read before, so we're going to kind of get a definitive idea here of what the Sith homeworld is.
And then this is actually Yoda going to Dagobah, who Qui-Gon at the beginning of the trailer sort of sends him there.
Yeah.
And we see, and look what you noticed, you pointed out here earlier.
Yeah, this looks like an evil, sort of demonic Yoda he's fighting. And that makes a lot of sense given the whole Empire Strikes Back, the tree facing your fears, facing sort of your greatest obstacles on
like
Dagobah.
Luke went into the cave, had to fight Vader. Now, who's this that Yoda is fighting? Is this his daddy? Is this the guy who trained him? I don't know.
Or is it just his dark self? And say if he turned to the dark side. But actually, again, very cool because we're going to learn what the connection to Dagobah Yoda had already established before he decided that's where I'm going to go in exile. And we mentioned in passing earlier, but seeing Mother Talzin again is very cool because she was so instrumental in the whole Savage Opress introduction and setting up the fact that Darth Maul would come back. Haven't seen her in a while, but she's showing up here. I will say, guys, just a warning, the Mace Windu Mother Talzin story arc, it also features Jar Jar. So, yeah, Jar Jar is going to make one last appearance. Somehow they left him out of the trailer. But yeah, lots of cool combat here. Looks like Mace Windu, does.
Going to town.
Even though he might be teamed up with Jar Jar a bit, I don't know what these creatures are he's fighting, but pretty cool stuff for Mace here. And this is a sequence, some of the snow stuff and Embo fighting in the snow here. I saw 2 years ago at Star Wars Celebration when it was going to be part of Season 5, but now we're going to finally get it here. So yeah, lots of stuff happening here. Even though it's just 4 story arcs, it looks like they pack a pretty good punch in that's going to reveal, certainly at least as far as the clone troopers, Yoda and Sifo Dyas is concerned a lot. But
yeah, you got to check this out. This looks like Yoda versus Palpatine, Darth Tyrannus.
Darth Sidious.
Darth Sidious, sorry. And so what's interesting about this is they fight in Episode 3, and they've been really good about not breaking continuity with the movies,
keeping Anakin and Grievous from never meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm thinking is that Yoda might actually encounter him in the flesh, and they have a short fight, but he doesn't know who it is yet.
He doesn't know who it is. Maybe he can kind of explain a little bit better about how the dark side is clouding things that he couldn't tell it is. So yeah, you might be right. It might be like he faces someone, but he doesn't find out it's Palpatine. But then there's 3 big fights we get a glimpse at here. Very cool, too. Mother Talzin versus Mace Windu. Because we haven't really seen her, so one-on-one with the Jedi as much as this.
Magic versus might.
Magic versus might. And then, if the Clone Wars is ending, it might as well end with one last Dooku versus Obi-Wan and Anakin. These guys, especially because they couldn't have Grievous fight Anakin, man, Anakin and Dooku fought a lot. So we get one last fight here, but it looks like another cool one. And then you get another look at, see, there we go. Evil, rabid, fanged
Yoda,
Yoda that he's going to face, we believe, on Dagobah. And we end with sort of this quiet moment with Fives about the clone troopers, which I think is appropriate given the name of this show. But lots of cool stuff in this trailer, guys. Only 13 episodes. Won't be a full 22-episode season, but I think we're going to get at least a cool amount of stuff before the end.